Hello there, Padawan learners, Jedi Masters, and lore legends. Welcome to the Bendu Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars.
Welcome, everyone, to the Bendu Podcast, Episode 2, where we seek balance in the Force. We have our hosts, N64 Josh, Nate Johns, and myself, Mulehorn Woman 7. What up, guys?
What's up? What is going on?
I got to do my best Josh impersonation. What up, guys? How's it going?
What is happening? It's the Bendu Podcast.
Oh, you guys ready to talk Star Wars? I mean, there's so much. Like, I don't even know if we're gonna fit all of this into 1 hour or what, but man, there's so much Star Wars to talk about tonight. Some good, some exciting, some sad, but I would say in all good. So, well, let's just get into the topics tonight. We got some rumors and news we're gonna go over. We got some fun questions that we're gonna kind of jump in here with. And we also have a lore segment by Nate Johns here. He's going to give some really cool lore. And then we're going to talk about the Bad Batch. So first up, rumors and news. And there's a rumor. And I don't know, it may have been an insider scoop from like Mike Zero.
It has to be real. It's not just clickbait title, I promise.
In case you can't tell, that's sarcasm right there. Brie Larson is rumored to be Mara Jade, or at least eyed to actually be Mara Jade. And what? What do you think, guys?
Nate, please start this.
With what we know in the sequel trilogy, I feel like it would be hard to bring in Mara Jade, at least the EU version of Mara Jade's. But I mean, Brie Larson, that's fine. They've done a good enough job casting overall that if that's who they want, I'll trust them at this point until they don't have it right.
Man.
And again, I just, unless there's a lot we don't know that happened with Luke right after Return of the Jedi, it doesn't seem to fit.
Yeah, that's like, I was like, how the heck is this going to work? Because the old Legends was, that was Luke's wife.
Right.
So
it'll be Rey's mom.
Here we go again, Rey's mom. Oh,
we need to get a Bendu shirt that just says
Rey's mom.
She's Rey's mom.
Oh my gosh, we should totally do that. We should. Oh my gosh. I don't know, man. I mean, it just doesn't. I think this is just pure speculation. Somebody just was like, "Oh, Mike Zero reported it. Let's say it's true." Sorry, Mike Zero.
That seems like gaming journalism this last week. Like somebody tweeted this. Here we go. Source like Twitter.
It's like the hot tub meta on Twitch or something.
I guess. The one thing I got to thinking about is like, if let's say this all happens, she's cast and Sebastian is cast as Luke. Like, I don't know that she got along very well with anybody in the
Avengers, right?
In the Avengers. So I don't know if he's like, I'm out, or like, I don't know.
Was she even really with the rest of the cast of the Avengers? She was in the movie for such a short amount of time.
I don't know. I don't know. I appreciate that sub there. I don't know. I mean, from what this is all rumors, so we don't really know. Right. But from the rumors that I've heard is that basically none of the cast really liked her. I don't know why.
Some of the interviews were super awkward. Like with Don Cheadle and stuff, he was just kind of like, "Can you not touch me?" I was like, "Oh wow."
Yeah. So that's kind of the weird thing. I think
weren't there rumors that no one got along with Pedro Pascal too?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of rumors that him and Gina were at odds, and then they're like, no, we actually liked each other a lot. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's just that weird Hollywood kind of thing, where it's competitive market, and so people are kind of like doing their own thing or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's like with the actors from Game of Thrones for Cersei and Bronn, where they literally couldn't be in the same room with each other.
Yeah. That was rough. But yeah, it's and we'll Turbo says in chat #bring Gina back. We'll talk about that in just a second. Where there's another little segment in news section we'll talk about. But yeah, it's like, I mean, to me, this has to be rumor because there's no way you can bring Mara Jade into the lore of Star Wars right now with the way it is. Like,
I mean, unless she's more of the temptation like Satine was with Obi-Wan.
well, the only thing I can think of is they might because kind of what they did with the last trilogy is basically take some stuff from Legends but kind of put their own spin on it.
Mhm.
So maybe it'll be like, oh, she's basically one of the Jedi Masters in his academy. But then that would mean that Kylo had to have killed her.
Right. I was about to say
So-
they didn't allude to anybody other than Luke.
Yeah. And then the comics, the Kylo Ren comics, it's like it's all like Padawans.
Yeah.
There's no other
Yeah.
masters than Luke. So I see this as just a freaking rumor. And I kind of wish
Mhm.
chat was saying, Jerry was saying in chat, Kyle Katarn, like, yeah, he would be awesome. Yeah.
Unless she's going to be some type of force sensitive, not
Yeah.
quite Jedi. That's another separate story from Skywalker.
Yeah. I don't know. So the other big news. Sorry, go ahead.
All I think of if Disney's going to use her, which it seems like that's going to happen, I would just like to see something take place. Knights of the Old Republic. We've seen the comic book with the long flowing blonde hair of the Jedi. Like that just seems to make sense. Now, this is a character that was Legend that could potentially be I'm not aware now. Is she still just Legend unless that changes
Yeah,
in
she's
the near future?
so.
totally Legend right now. It's like
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
basically So
Yeah,
Or
so I
maybe bring her
mean,
in with High Republic stuff.
yeah.
I'm just talking Brie itself, Brie herself, not Jade, not Mara Jade.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. Like, because it from
yeah.
other sources for a couple of months ago, it seemed like Brie was talking with Star Wars about, and they might have been tweeting or I don't know, I can't remember, but it seemed like there was some stuff going on, but also I trust Filoni, right? Like,
Yeah.
like he may be, I don't know. I don't know. But if we are going to see her, I think either if we're going to see Brie in it, Mara Jade's fine if they want to, bring that character back. But otherwise, like, let's give her something new.
I just hope she has a little more depth. I don't know if it was just the writing or whatnot, but I just want her to do something besides just look at Luke and be like, "Hey, Luke Skywalker," like something, not the "Hey, Peter Parker." Like I want a little more. Like she needs to be emotional a little bit, like a little more. Like I don't know how to put it. Like not even really emotional. Like I just want a little bit more of depth of character.
She was better in King Kong.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Right?
it was the writing. Maybe it was the
She wasn't
writing.
bad in her couple episodes of Community.
Yeah. I don't know,
think
man.
the whole point of Captain Marvel is that like she's an alien that doesn't really know. That's what I tried to tell myself anyway when I was just like, "Who is this cardboard cutout that breathes?" You know what I mean? Like this is
Jeez, tell us what you really think. No, I mean, I think. I mean, I don't really know how they would do it. I just don't know. I mean, she wouldn't fit in Old Republic, in my opinion, because everyone that knows the old EU would have a cow.
Well, if they just use the actress versus saying it's Mara Jade.
True. Yeah. Now, if
I
they
think
make
that's
her
what
just
Josh was saying.
like another powerful Jedi, like kind of like a Mace Windu powerful Jedi or something like that, that'd be cool. See,
Yeah, put her in the High Republic.
yeah, like something like that. Yeah. But honestly, I think I would take Old Republic over High Republic. Because like the new comics are kind of cool, but
I enjoyed the first book.
yeah, I haven't read that one, just the comics, the High Republic comics. So I'm a comic guy. My attention span, Nate, is like this. So
Yeah, that's true.
So here we go. This is the big news for a Star Wars fan. Dave Filoni is now, quote, unquote, officially executive creative director out of what they have 3, I think, at Lucasfilm. So he's one of 3, which basically to translate what that means is like he has more authority in like the stories, the lore, the marketing of Star Wars, things like that, character creation. So for me, man, so freaking excited. So excited. Right? Because the best Star Wars has been Clone Wars, Rebels, and Mando. I feel like that's been the best Star Wars we've gotten in the last few years. Like, there's the sequels. They're not great. I mean, they're not horrible, but they're not great. They're like in the middle for me with Star Wars. It's Star Wars, so I still like it. But it's like, and I will say, yeah, Rogue One was really good, Nate. But like, those are the best Star Wars. And I feel like Filoni he's like the Padawan learner, George Lucas. I don't know. What do you guys think? What y'all think when y'all saw this?
I mean, it's good just to have somebody in charge. I think we've seen that with the Marvel universe. Having Kevin Feige, oversee everything, having his hand in things. And I think Filoni has shown he can do it. I mean, he created some of the more iconic newer characters like Ahsoka, and so I think it'll be a good thing.
Yeah,
I'm right there. Yeah, it's gonna be great. He knows what's up. He seems like a Star Wars fan first and foremost. And I think he understands that as a fan, if he creates the stories that Star Wars fans want, they're gonna sell. I mean, they created stories that Star Wars fans didn't want, and they still got sales. So like I think it's only going to the more we see his name on things, the better.
He just knows so much obscure lore too. Like he knows Star Wars inside and out. Like it's crazy. I saw this interview with him. There was an episode in the Clone Wars where there was a big, kind of like big worm monster that was attacking Coruscant. And what he was telling people is the lore behind it. And it was kind of tongue in cheek joking, but kind of serious. And he's like, yeah, he knew Palpatine was sus. Like he could tell he was probably a Sith Lord, and he was trying to tell everyone that, but no one spoke his language. And so that's why they attacked him, and Palpatine had him killed. And I was like, dude, like only Filoni knows that obscure stuff, man. Like,
right.
Just like if you watch some of the behind the scenes stuff from The Mandalorian season 1, you'll see him when they're at the cantina there on the first planet. Can't remember the name of it now. But he's talking about like, oh yeah. That droid should like be acting like this and only move like this, and then that is used for this, and it's just, to me, he's like George Lucas Jr. That's just the best way I know how to put it.
That's a great way. That's a great way to put it, honestly.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into this the sad news here, which is Rangers of the New Republic is officially Dunsky. Well, I will say they're no longer in active development. Should say that. That doesn't necessarily mean it's been canceled. It just means, hey, we're not developing this anymore. So that mean, I want to ask you guys this, y'all's thoughts. Does that mean no Gina, no Rangers of the Republic, or what do you think? Nate, don't just jump in. I know you got so much to say to this.
I mean, honestly, of the shows that they announced, that was the one I was least excited about. I mean, it'd be nice to kind of see what the Republic's doing or the New Republic is doing at that point. But and like you said, it may not be canceled. They could be in the process of retooling it, so it's not active development, but it's still in development.
Yeah.
And I think it probably signals that we're not getting Gina back, but I'll be honest, her acting is terrible.
Hey man, she's a good action character. That's all we need. We just need her to flex and punch people.
I don't know if she could hold a show on her own though.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. She'd have to have a pretty strong supporting cast. I think I said that in our Discord. Is like if she was going to be like the main character, because what was it? Radical was saying like people were saying she would make a good Ashley in Mass Effect. I was like, I think she'd maybe be a good Shep, but she would definitely have to work on her like lead acting ability. Because I really see her as more of a, I don't want to say sidekick. That doesn't sound right.
Supporting.
Yeah, supporting role.
She's supporting.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, honestly, and I put this on TikTok. I don't know if you saw it, but I think what they could do is just revive it, but have Iden Versio as it because she would fit perfectly. She was an elite TIE fighter pilot. There was an elite squadron in the Empire that defected to the Republic. Yes. She would be perfect for that, right? Like it's all about like flying and adventuring in the Republic. Why wouldn't that fit? Iden would be perfect. And the person that played her in the video game is already an actor. She has screen time. Like it would fit.
Yeah, they'd have to do that pretty soon though, probably. Well, I guess it depends on when they would, just so she doesn't get too old, but it'll depend on when it's actually set.
Yeah, because she doesn't die until right before The Force Awakens.
Okay.
Yeah. Because in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the DLC, she has her son or her daughter, and she ends up dying toward the end in her daughter's arms, right when Starkiller Base is blowing up the planets. So she would fit.
I don't have to finish that now.
There you go.
Right, I don't think I finished it either.
Come on, it's been out since Josh. Is this another KOTOR, dude?
That's the DLC, right? I'm literally I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty, and I'm literally stuck at this part, and I refuse to turn the difficulty down. And so every time I go back to it, I play it for like 45 minutes of these same stormtroopers just eventually overtaking me. I'm like, dang. Is that
on the outside of the ship?
No, it's inside. It's inside of some kind of base or something, and you're just getting swamped, and you got to shoot from all the different, this one's up on a catwalk and this one's down below, and I'm trying to remember the patterns, and
sounds like you're just getting old, bro. You can't handle those shooters anymore.
Whoa. Hey, come on.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jerry asked, I gotta know this. Did you beat Fallen Order?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I know Nate hasn't.
No. But I think they're doing a Series X update to it soon.
I think so too. Yeah.
And maybe I'll try it for the third or fourth time and see if I get through it.
It's like
it was so good. We talked about it, right? Wasn't
it? That was like the first. That was like our prologue. Yeah.
Yeah. I loved that game. Once I started playing, I couldn't stop. So, little side note here: if you type in Dave Filoni's name on Google, the third thing people ask is if Dave Filoni is a furry. And according to this blog, yes, he is a furry. He has a wolf as his fursona. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Is that when we have loaf wolves and rebels?
Could be. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
I mean, he looks more like an Indiana Jones to me, kind of a guy than a furry,
In the chat, they're like, what?
A furry. I'm gonna have to Google this. I kind of want to Google it now and see if it comes. Dave Filoni. Let's see. Dave Filoni. Wait, I see Dave Filoni in Gray Jedi. Oh no. Oh my gosh, that's the first one that came up for me. Is Dave Filoni a furry? Did Dave Filoni create Ahsoka? And then, how much is Dave Filoni worth? Did Dave Filoni create Clone Wars? Like, the most weirdest thing. And it does. It says Lucasfilm Animation is a furry.
Yep.
What the heck, dude? Oh my gosh. I can't get over that. Sorry. That's okay. Sorry. All right. Yeah. So, any other thoughts on the news and rumors here, guys, before we move into Nate's lore?
I mean, if you've seen Dave and the Chef Show, you can tell he's a 2-wolf, 3-wolf, howling at the moon kind of shirt guy. Maybe just the 2-wolf. He's like, 3 wolves is a little much, but I'll go with the 2 wolves. You know.
Where they're looking at each other howling at the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Before we get into the lore, I forgot. I have a fun question for the podcast. And you guys are in the YouTube chat, or if you're listening to us audibly, jump on our Discord and you can continue this discussion with us. But you guys are more than welcome to jump in this chat. But the fun question I have for the podcast, I'm going to ask each of you guys. We're going to start with the best, then we'll go with the worst. What is the best and the worst fight scenes in all of Star Wars, in your opinion? So, Josh, I know you were excited for this, so I kind of want to start with you. What's the best fight scene in all of Star Wars for you?
This is gonna like. Why do we ask questions like this? You know what happens when these questions are asked. All these ats start coming flying at us. You know. I mean, probably original Mos Eisley Han Greedo. Han shot first.
That's your best fight scene in all of Star Wars.
No.
Excuse me, guys. I should go.
You gotta go. Yeah. No. Okay. My honest answer, Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, Episode 1. Anytime I see when I was a kid watching like ninja movies and stuff, anytime I saw a front block to a back block, I always was like, that's so sick. And when Obi-Wan did that with Darth Maul, I was like, yep, this is my favorite lightsaber fight of all time.
Yeah. What about you, Nate? Favorite?
Is it just movies?
We'll say animation as well. We'll say because Clone Wars, Rebels, that's kind of all included.
Can I say everything around like Order 66 and the end of the Clone Wars? You know, the Battle of Mandalore with Ahsoka coming down the ships from season 7. Basically, that whole last arc of season 7.
I think that could count. That was pretty freaking epic.
Like, and just knowing everything that's going on. Then when you throw in the stuff you see from the Bad Batch, and then again with Maul escaping from captivity or being let go by Ahsoka and blowing up the ship, just that whole big sequence.
Yeah.
Man, the battle of Mandalore was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. You changing your opinion now, Josh? Not Greedo.
This is even more controversial, but Yoda at the end of Attack of the Clones was like the only thing good about that movie. Like when he started flipping around, I was just like, oh, my boy's got it. You know what I mean? Like that. Those two are close. They're
yeah.
Obi-Wan and Maul, Dooku and Yoda. I'm still going to go Obi-Wan and Maul, but I had to at least give honorable mention to Yoda because I think that was just one of the most shocking things as he's like, and him and Palpatine also were good, but we already knew he had the capabilities at that point. And I think there was just that initial shock was like, whoa, what is Yoda doing? I'm in love.
Like, hold on. He's not so old after all. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been going to like Yoda chiropractor or something.
Yeah. So do I have to give mine, I guess?
Of course.
You do. Yeah, we want to know.
Geez. I think the best one, and it's going to be kind of obscure because a lot of people don't know of it. And then part of it's because I love Obi-Wan. But in Clone Wars, there's a part where it leads up with the whole arc with Maul when Maul reveals himself again to him. And he's like, do you remember me? I'm coming to kill you. And he's like, I've defeated you before I can defeat you again. And then that whole arc leads into him getting Savage and his brother. And then Maul, people don't know this, but Obi-Wan is like one of the best lightsaber duelists in all the Star Wars series because he is like a master at Form 3, which is a very defensive style of lightsaber combat. And all the other forms, it's so hard to overcome that if you're a master at it. Like, it doesn't matter what form you have. If you master Form 3, you'll be fine because you can outlast your opponent and you wait for that moment. And so there's this moment where Obi-Wan's fighting Savage and Maul at the same time with 2 lightsabers, and he holds them both off by himself and eventually cuts off Savage's arm. Like, waits for an opportunity, keeps pecking at his leg, takes it out, and then eventually he doesn't finish the fight, but he gets away. But like, to me, that sums up like a Jedi, like very defensive fighter, picks his moment, cuts off, doesn't kill him, and then makes his little getaway, So for me, that moment, and if you guys have never seen it, like go through our YouTube videos. I have like a little short in there about it, but it's a fantastic fight. It's so good. So that's got to be my favorite. Now, the worst. I need to know the worst, Josh. and I think I already know.
And anything from the sequel trilogy, pretty much. Like, what's funny is I used to think that after Snoke got killed, I used to think that like even though it was kind of corny, I was like, oh, there's still lightsabers going crazy. And then you see, like, I saw like a breakdown of it recently, and I was like, this is the worst ever. Like, the worst ever. But also Finn and Kylo, like, again, you run into the lightsabers can no longer kill people or cut them in half, and Finn takes it to the back like a champ, like, it's just cheesy.
Yeah. Just didn't like it.
No, yeah. The other one worth noting that's really bad is Luke and Kylo as well. Like, I was not
Really.
I wasn't. Yeah. Well, because I mean, he never.
I thought that was one of the better fights in the sequels. Like, I thought that moment was actually pretty cool when like Luke is just dodging him, very Jedi-like, not even fighting him, just dodging.
Visually, most of them are nice in the sequels, like,
yeah,
at least visually.
Yeah,
visually, but I knew the moment. Like, most of us, it was funny because I watched it with like a bunch of families, some into Star Wars, some that were not, and the moment he showed up and his hair was dyed and he had Anakin's lightsaber, I was just kind of like, okay, what? Like, and then their lightsabers never touched. And so I was just kind of like, this isn't even really a lightsaber duel, really. It's just like cat and mouse. And so I just, and hadn't he already been, hadn't Kylo already screamed, like, fire the kitchen sink at Luke, like, more! And it just, I don't know. I think I was already so annoyed by that point in the movie that I was just like, just end.
All right, Nate. Worst fight scene in Star Wars.
I mean, I don't know if it counts, but just like the escape from Canto Blight in the
I think that's a fight scene, so that counts.
Yeah. And then it's not really worst, but maybe saddest is, again, going back to that end of Clone Wars, that season when Rex and Ahsoka have to fight the clones, just knowing how it ends. Like, that one's just tough to watch. I mean, it's an awesome scene with Ahsoka just defending everybody and Rex firing off the stunning bolts. Just knowing how it ends with all the clone helmets at the end is hard to watch.
Yeah. I think the worst fight scene for me, it's got to be the throne room for The Last Jedi, just because I was hoping for more, man, and I felt like, just because of the writing or whatnot, I wanted to see more from Snoke, and I wanted to see Snoke kind of get in there and Kylo kind of get in there with Snoke, and instead we have them fighting basically like a Praetorian Guard that they should have no problem with being force sensitive Jedi. But I don't know, man. I mean, I get it that they were probably force sensitive, that were protecting Snoke, things like that. They had force pikes or the little whatever you call them. But like, I just felt like that scene could have been so much more. So it's not necessarily as it was a horrible fight scene. It just felt like a little bit of a letdown. Like, there was some cool, like, I kept waiting. I was like, this could be cool. This could be really cool. And then the way they end it, where basically like the lightsaber is broken in two, I was like, man, this, like, and I get the symbolism and all that. So don't make it sound like I didn't understand the film and all that. Like, I get it, because, the ship going through, or it's a symbolism being torn into, Kylo Ren being torn into. I get it. But I just felt like it could have been so much cooler. It would have been so cool to see Snoke fight Kylo, and then maybe Luke come in and just be like very defensive, very Obi-Wan like, just get them out of there, and maybe start Kylo a little bit onto the light side, So for me, it was more of like a letdown than it was just a horrible fight scene. I was hoping for a little bit.
You know what? That's a great point, because I remember thinking that whole time, like, okay, when is Luke going to show back up?
Yeah.
Like, when's his, when's he showing up? There's got to be something. And yeah, and it just, even the, throwing the lightsaber and turning it on right through the eye hole or whatever, it was just kind of like, okay, like
Man, hard to impress, Josh. Gosh, it's a lightsaber. Glow sticks.
I know, I know. I want to like things, but and it's funny because you're like, I understand Kylo was being torn up. It was still bad. Like, it doesn't make yes, I get it. I get that it was bad too. Like,
Nate, what are you thinking over there? I see you thinking. You just.
I mean, again, visually, some of that scene is cool, but it is kind of disappointing that it was like the quickness of Snoke's death.
Yeah.
But look at the beginning of that. Like, look what he does to Rey. Like it was nothing. He was like,
toying with
and
him.
then he's like,
And he couldn't sense that
I
Kylo
can't
was
even
gonna do that.
Yeah, I can't tell that this lightsaber's spinning next to me, and bye.
Yeah, because
like
that was a really good point, because that was a moment you were like, oh, this is like a Darth Vader moment where like you feel like he's a bad mofo, or like an Emperor moment when Luke realizes like, oh, I'm against the Emperor, I'm probably gonna die. Like,
that scene would have been so much better if Rey and Kylo had taken him on with some kind of lightsaber duel. That would have been way better. And maybe he does the typical villain speech while they're fighting, giving us some backstory of who he is. But instead, he was just like, I'm gonna zone out for a second. Go ahead and kill me. Like, what? How did this dude who was like slamming Hux around from who knows how far away is now just like derp? I don't know.
See, and I know people will be like, oh, he was distracted or he's overconfident. Like, I know people will say that, but I don't know. I kind of tend to agree with you there, Josh. Full Turbo says in chat that he thought the New Hope Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader fight was like girls slapping each other. Come on, man. Bro. Come on. That's all.
You know what I love about that? Like, going back and hearing different commentary and stuff on it is that Vader could have mopped the floor with him at that point due to his age, but because of sensing him and his respect towards him, he held back. Which, I mean, I know it's just a way to justify like the fact that lightsaber was plugged into an outlet in the wall behind Obi-Wan so it could glow. Like you can see the white cord, but I mean, Sir Alec was, I mean, he was old at that point.
So the justification I've always heard is like two samurai that were fighting each other, and you have two very highly skilled samurai, and so you're just trying to feel each other out and see who makes the first move. So some of the movement is very purposeful and slow because you get overconfident, you're done, because they're just so highly skilled, both of them. So that's at least a justification, Turbo.
And it's just a sign of the time of when it was made.
Yeah. I mean, there's a great remake on YouTube. What is it, like was it called 84 Remix or something? I can't remember what it's called. There's a great remake on YouTube. I'll have to try to find it and post it in our Discord this week. But it's like really good, like really well done. It uses deepfake for like the face. And so it's like really, really good. All right.
That sounds cool.
Nate, it is time for Nate's Lore Corner. Give us a little bit of lore, Nate. What do we got on deck?
So this week we're going to look at Admiral Trench, who first shows up in the Clone Wars. He's also a little bit connected to the Bad Batch because we see him for the last time at the beginning of season 7 when the Bad Batch were introduced. But he is a Harch Admiral, so he's spider-like. He gets later in the series he's half cybernetic because that's just kind of what happens in Star Wars at this point. But he has escaped many different battles. I know he was in the 16th episode of season 2 of Clone Wars, which actually chronologically is the first, because with Clone Wars, they were just all over the place chronologically. And it was kind of shown that, or mentioned that it was surprising that he was around. So it's one of, if you watch Clone Wars chronologically, it's, your introduction to the show, and Anakin has to sneak by him in a stealth ship and is able to outwit him. And we see him again in season 6, right at the beginning of the arc with Fives, where he finds out about the Order 66 chip. So he's just, he's one of the more interesting characters for what he connects to throughout the series. Again, the whole Fives thing, and learning in Fives, at least learning about it, which eventually leads to Rex learning about the chip. And then again, seeing him at the beginning of season 7, where we get introduced to the Bad Batch, and he's the one holding Echo and using Echo as for battle plans.
Yeah.
And then Anakin kills him. I mean, at the end, he actually, it's one of those, again, you see him approaching that Darth Vader. It's when I show my son some stuff from there, it's his dark side moments. You see one of those with Trench gives up the final code to disarm a bomb on the shipyard that he's attacking, and then Anakin just kills him.
Yeah. Do we know how he got some of his cybernetics, or we just basically battle damage?
So when we first see him, it's just a little bit of battle damage, but I'm pretty sure his ship basically explodes in the first arc we see him in. So I think there's a lot of it from there. So he's been reconstructed, kind of like Vader.
Yeah. That's kind of foreshadowing there too. Like,
although does it really count as foreshadowing when it's made after the movie?
It's pre-shadowing.
It's pre-shadowing. Yeah. Yeah. I always thought he was a really good villain. Like, he was super smart,
Yeah. And then he was always fun to watch and see, he was so confident in everything, and everyone feared him. And
yeah. Awesome.
Foreshadowing? I don't know. We got pre-foreshadowing? I don't know. Hey, this is the lore you're looking for. I've been listening to a book that has some lore in it. Can I talk about it for a second?
Yes. Let's hear this. Yeah, we're in the lore corner here, Josh. So give us some more.
Okay. So I've been listening to Aftermath, which I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Star Wars books, but they're so well done. They're so well done. Their sound effects, Wookiees are screaming. I mean, it's so well done. Even the actor that they got to read, I think he does all the voices. His voice for Han is spot on. Like, it's so great. I totally love it. This book was written in 2015. It connects a lot of dots, and we're going to get into dots connecting in when we start talking about Bad Batch stuff as well. But not only is there dots, but there's also just stuff that, like, we didn't even need more of, and they still gave us more. Like, I learned that I think it's Patessa is how you say it, is the Rancor that Luke killed. That's the name of that Rancor. I didn't even know it had a name until like yesterday.
Hey.
And then Malakili, I think is how you say his name. He's the trainer, right? So forgive me if I'm not getting the name right, but he's the trainer
from Return of the Jedi.
That was all crying. And
Yeah.
He's super bummed out, like wandering around Tatooine.
Yeah.
Runs into Cobb Vanth from Mandalorian season 2.
Really?
Yes. I was like, wait a minute. So
I didn't know
Cobb
that.
has backstory in Aftermath. And
I remember hearing a little bit about that after he showed up in Mandalorian, that he's in Aftermath.
Yeah, and is it Mos Pelos or whatever? That's where they're at.
Yep.
That's where that's where Malakili or whatever ends up there with him, like I guess helping him out, kind of.
Interesting.
There's backstory on Maz Kanata and her castle, and like you're not allowed, like there's the rules for being in her castle. You're not allowed to fight when you're there, and what she will do to you if you do, and so never ask her about her eyes. Right. And QT9 from episode 9 is introduced, and he's a prototype for a service droid to help with your seasonal depression and things like that. Like that's what he was. You're gonna have a panic. Yes, he's a service droid, just like like a golden retriever, but he's a droid. So, like that's what they said. I was like, wait a minute, QT9. That's from. Yep, sure enough.
Who wrote Aftermath? I can't remember. I read it a long time ago, but I can't remember who wrote it.
I believe
it's Chuck's.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, man. Filoni knows all this stuff. Like he just connects the dots. That's awesome.
That's what I was searching if he was tied to Aftermath at all, and that's when I found out he was a furry. So that's that we're full circle now. Full circle.
Yeah, I remember.
So anyway, I thought it was cool.
Came out, it was like right at the time of Force Awakens, and it was like that first. All right, we're doing the new movie. Here's some of the other stuff that's going to start being almost the new EU.
Yeah,
through the books.
Yeah, it's like pretty close to right after Jedi.
Yeah,
they're still hunting down the rest of the Empire. Wookiees do not mess around in this book. They're twisting people in half like it's nothing. And you hear bones breaking and dudes screaming in the audiobook. I was like, this is money. It's so good. And then Bloodlines is like, I think Kylo is 6 years old. Kylo is conceived in Aftermath, and I think he's like 6 or 10 years old in
Bloodlines. Yeah, because Bloodlines is when he finds out about Darth Vader being his grandfather. Because this is what's crazy. Okay, since we're in lore, we'll just jump into that too. Because though it's crazy in that book is like Leia and Han don't tell Kylo, and the way it finds out is there's like a leak given to the New Republic Senate, because there's a lot of people that are still Empire, like love the Empire. They're in the Senate and they don't like Leia, so they basically leak this information that he's Darth's daughter, so that they can displace her because they're afraid that she'll be another Darth Vader. So they use that as leverage against her to kick her out so that the First Order can keep doing their thing because she's starting to catch on to it. So, of course, it goes out all over the galaxy and Kylo finds out about it, and like she could feel him when he found out. And so that's what kind of started Kylo down even darker path, because Snoke was already messing with them, things like that. So anyway.
Yeah, I need to finish that book at some point.
It's kind of slow. It's kind of slow and bland. But if you're looking for just like little lore nuggets, it's not bad for stuff like that. Like it took me a while to get through that book, and I'd listened to it on audio. It took me a while, but it's not bad. It's okay. Right on. Any other lore, guys, that we're connecting to all this? Because it's kind of cool. I like this stuff.
I mean, the next part I'm excited to talk about is just getting into Bad Batch and a question. One of the things I love about all of this stuff that's coming out with Star Wars, and with it happened with Mandalorian, it like Filoni, I feel like if I had sat on a playground with Filoni as a kid, we would have asked the same questions about like, I wonder why they went from clone troopers to stormtroopers. And he would have been like, yeah, me too. And in 40 years, I'm going to tell you why.
Yep.
I
wrote this whole story on my little spiral notebook about it. Yeah.
My speaking spell's got all kinds of Star Wars lore in
it. Yeah. Yeah. So Bad Batch, let's go. Yeah. Episode 2, what is it? 2, 3, and 4. So the 4th one was out today. What'd you guys think? I mean, was there good? Was it slow? What do you think?
I mean, I'm enjoying all of them. There's a lot of, even for, I think it was episode 3 was a little slower on the action. It was still good with, all the stuff we're seeing with Crosshair and how the Empire is kind of operating at this point, and the ruthlessness that, when they went to try to find Saw Gerrera's team.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah. Gosh.
Honestly, the biggest thing from that episode for me was the transition from Stormtrooper to from Clone Trooper to Stormtrooper, and I was just like, I know they didn't like totally get into it yet, like there's still more to come, but like I love these little side stories of questions that I mean, you guys remember being young and you remember thinking back, like I'm talking in the early 90s and just being like, I wonder what the Clone Wars were like. And you just, all you had was your imagination to paint that picture of like, well, I guarantee none of us painted the picture of Anakin at 10 years old being the great pilot, but you know, like we all thought he was going to be like, you know, like he wasn't like, kind of like he was in episode 3, I guess. But, this is pod right. Never mind. Okay. So, yeah, it was just so corny, but I love this. I love that we're finding out these little questions that have just been, you know, some of them we don't even realize we wanted. We're like, oh yeah, or finding out more about like a crate dragon. You know, we saw Obi-Wan like do the sound, and then we saw the skeleton, but that was it. Yeah. Right. And now we know way more about it, and it's really cool.
What exactly are chain codes?
Yes,
they get, you know.
That here's my man crush with Filoni, man, just coming through again. It's just like he weaves that in so well, because like you see in The Mandalorian, he's like, what's the chain code when he's going to look for Grogu? And they're like, we don't have one, because he never got one. Like all we have is his date of birth. And so he's like, you don't have a chain code? Like everyone has a chain code. That's like in America, you have a social security number. Like everyone has a social security number. Hold on. So it's just kind of like, it's cool the way he interweaved all that in there. And I think, and I'll say this before I get into like a theory I have for where it's going. But one of the things that I like that they did with this latest episode with Finnick is showing why Mando, when he was like talking to that young bounty hunter on Mos Eisley, why he was like, Finnick, no, you can go take care of her. I don't want to fight her. Because the way he handled Wrecker, like she was just like, bink, gone. And I was like, this is a dude that freaking, we saw him pushing tanks off the edge of a cliff. Like he's not a pushover. And he just got manhandled by Finnick. And like, it just like, he's so well at like, so good at building that story and that credibility. And that's why like at the end of season 2, when you see Finnick and Bo-Katan and Cara Dune, like rushing the starship and being the distraction for Mando, why they were like just mowing through all these guys. Because she's so like strong, like such a good fighter, such a good bounty hunter, you know? So I love that, like the way he interweaves all that, and just like, that just makes me love Filoni more and makes me more excited that like he's having more of a hand in the stories and things like that. But I think, guys, what we're going to see is something that happened in Legends. I think we're actually going to see the fall of Kamino. I think we're going to see the battle of stormtroopers coming in, maybe even like, because they're kind of alluding to it, how they're like, well, the clone troopers are ours. Like they're saying, you know, the Kaminoans are saying like, they're ours. We can control them. Doesn't matter what you want. They're our property. Because I think was the actual line. They're our property. So there's got to be some kind of order or chip or something, inhibitor chip, to make them still listen to the Kaminoans over the Empire. So I think that's going to lead into a big fight where the stormtroopers are going to come in with Tarkin, and they're just going to overwhelm them because they have so much more resources, because they have so many more people that are enlisted, and they're just going to win with sheer numbers and power. And even though the clone troopers, like I love the little nod, like you were saying, Josh, how like when they're like our clone troopers are like way better shots, basically. They're like, yeah, there's no way they can shoot as good as our clone troopers. Like a little nod to why stormtroopers suck at aiming so bad, you know? Yeah. But like, it's just amazing. I love that. I love it, man. And so far, even though there's been episodes that felt a little slow, I felt like they purposefully have been building story. And it's just, I love it. It's like building blocks.
I mean, it is 16 episodes, so it's not everything's going to be super action packed.
So where would you, what? Go ahead, Josh.
Do you guys think we're going to see some of the construction of the first Death Star in Bad Batch?
I don't know. I just don't know if that'll be, I'm sure it's going on, but it just may not be a focal point of it. I could see like some background thing, like Tarkin is talking to somebody about it and gets interrupted.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we see in episode 3, Vader is standing on the deck of a Star Destroyer, and you see it being constructed, like the very basic outline of the circle. So maybe. Also, what do you guys?
I'm just curious. I mean, they went into that. We got a lot of kind of Death Star history with Rogue One, right? Or some anyway. I'm just wondering if like, you know, but I feel like didn't Rogue One, wasn't that kind of the test fire shots from the Death Star? Was that like the first time they fired that? Yeah, so it couldn't, because I'm like, I wonder if they just wipe out Camino with the Death Star altogether. You know what I mean? But it sounds like that wouldn't, unless they did it after, like it happened.
I mean,
like right before Alderaan, they're like, "Hey, this thing works for wiping out planets. Let's boogie on over to Alderaan now." You know, like I don't know.
Well, Alderaan was the first planet they destroyed, and
Yeah, that's the
pretty sure
actual
they make it
planet.
very clear, like very clear that's
Well, the only planet they destroyed.
true.
Yeah. Jerry says this in chat, and it's a really good point. He said he bets that we'll see Crosshair become one of the first prototype Dark Troopers, the Robo Hybrid. You know what's sad? Actually, because that made me think about this. I think it might be Fives. I mean, not Five. Yeah, Five. Or Echo, I mean. Sorry. I think it might be Echo. Because I feel like someone's going to have to die, the Bad Batch. I feel like something's going to happen where they're something, because we haven't seen them in any other films or anything. So something's going to happen to him. And like just seeing Echo and how sad it is, because like he was treated basically like a robot, be pawned off and sold by Hunter in this last episode. Like
At least he knew his worth.
yeah, like it just makes me feel bad for the dude, man. He was best buds with Rex, got blown up, got put back together. It's like half android. Like he would be a really good prototype for their Dark Trooper program. Like maybe he gets captured and they start that. Like,
And maybe Crosshair's the first Death Trooper.
yeah, maybe he is. Maybe he's
Krennic.
yeah. I mean, I think Crosshair could be like the leader of the Death Troopers for sure, because they're supposedly some of them were leftover clones. So you never know, man. Dang, there's so much they can go with all this. Jeez. Anyway, any other thoughts, guys? Any other thoughts on the episodes? We're running a little longer than usual on the podcast.
It happens when we talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know? Again, just the little nod from the Geonosis arena, the monsters that they had there going after Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme. We see almost take out Omega when they were, you know, so that it's just those little details that that make me feel bad for people that don't spend time watching all this other stuff, because I'm like, oh, you're missing so much, you know?
Yeah, man. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes with the Bad Batch. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in, you know, the Book of Boba Fett. If we're going to get any tie-ins with that, because they're going to be basically back on Tatooine. So, I mean, Cobb's still there. It's going to be interesting, guys. It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan. I know we say that, but good time.
We mean it.
We mean it.
Yeah.
Well, if we got no other thoughts, I think that about wraps up the cast for us tonight, guys. Thank you for joining us. And if you're listening to us on Anchor or your other podcasting platforms, thank you for listening to us on the audio side. And all you guys are awesome. They're in the chat on YouTube. Appreciate you guys as well. So thanks for joining us. Make sure you visit mulehorngaming.com and click on the podcast menu for more great podcasts in the MHG network, like the Analog Assault podcast. And if you like this podcast, make sure you like and sub for future episodes and more great video content. Check our description as well. We got lots of cool stuff down there, like our Amazon store link, our Epic creator code, all that good stuff. And guys, remember,
the Force will be with you, always.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you, Master.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with us all.